Hey guys, this is Colby from Colby's Canines, and today I want to talk to you about my next suggestion for what to do before you even really start training your dog. And for me, that's going to be consistency. Consistency kind of underlies everything else I'm going to talk about. If you're not consistent, you're not communicating with your dog effectively. Consistency helps to build and maintain trust. So right now, I'm working with a very nervous and fearful dog. Very, very nervous, very jumpy, especially about me. One thing I'm very consistent about is that with my body language, I go to great lengths to be the least threatening I can possibly be. One thing that is intimidating to her is if she is sitting somewhere and I come at her, head on, like I'm looking right at her. That kind of freaks her out, makes her nervous, and she'll usually run away, especially if she's not on leash or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll turn to the side just a little bit, and I'll kind of take that pressure off of her, which I'll explain all that in a future video in greater detail. It's a little less intimidating. One example I like to give people is that nothing in nature is very threatening with its back turned. Nothing I know of. A king cobra does not come at you from behind, like with its back turned. It's got that hood up and it's like, I'm gonna get you. Weird example. I've never seen a dog fight start when a dog turned around and backed its butt into the other dog. That's why I turn to the side a little bit, or maybe even my back to her. I'll kind of keep my head down. By doing that, by being very consistent with that, I've been able to start to build and maintain trust with her. Builds effective communication with her. Another thing to think about is with consistency and doing the same things the same way every time. Things we say, if you ask your dog to sit and you say sit once and they sit and then you give a treat, great, okay, great. But then what if tomorrow you say sit and they don't, so you say sit again and they don't, and you say sit again and then they do, and then you give them a treat. Well, now instead of setting that baseline of, hey, I'm going to say sit once, and if you do it that first time, then I'm going to give you a treat, or you're going to get rewarded in some way. And you do that every single time from there on out, then you're being very consistent. But if you do the example I just told you, if you say sit, and then the next day you say sit, 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 and then the next day you say sit, sit, and it varies what you're asking, then that hurts that consistency. You're not being consistent. You're being totally inconsistent. The next thing I want to talk about is if you've been following my content for very long, I hope you've noticed that I'm generally speaking very gentle. Even if I'm working with an aggressive dog, like I'm not overly, or anything like that. And I feel like my best tool to balance that out is the fact that I'm 100% consistent all the time. Like for instance, with the aggressive dog, right? It's my favorite cases to work with. I absolutely love it. Okay, so let's skip past the me gaining their trust and not being attacked by them and blah blah blah. Let's go to whenever I've got them out in public. I'm working on stuff like that. Okay, I'm never harsh, really. I like to think anyway. I don't do corrections. I don't do I don't yell at them. Nothing like that. That's just not my thing, okay? But, okay, 100%, I'm never, to the greatest of my ability, and I've got a fair amount of ability, I am absolutely not going to let them bite anyone else. 100%. That's never going to happen. Not on my watch. And I will take measures to make sure that happens. Now, those measures may be a muzzle. They may be something like that. I don't want to get you worried. I'm not out here with dogs snapping in people's faces. But I am 100% consistent with what I ask them to do. Hey, if you will watch this person go by without reacting, great. We're going to have a good time. We might have a little tug session right here in Tractor Supply, wherever we're at. If you can ignore those dogs walking by and pay attention to me, or maybe watch them and be calm, whichever, then we're going to go do something else that's super fun. Maybe I've got a handful of super yummy treats I'm going to scatter in the grass for you to hunt down, or whatever. My point is that I'm going to be 100% consistent. And I really feel like this makes the difference between what people would call a fur mom and a great mom, right? Like a great dog mom. To me, a fur mom is someone that gives in to their dogs everything they ask of, everything that they want. They just coddle them, kind of. And my feeling on that is, because I kind of coddle my dogs too, but I'm very consistent with what I ask of them. Like, I give my dog table scraps. They get away with a lot, for real. Like, considering I'm a dog trainer, like, I think it would surprise people how much they get away with. But 100% of the time, if me and my wife are eating, they need to be on their beds the whole time. And if they get up, I'm going to lead them back, and we're going to work on that. And I'm never, ever going to deviate from that. Like, I'm never going to be like, oh, well, I don't care if you lay on my feet while I'm eating. Like, no, that's 100% not going to happen. I'm not going to be harsh about it, but 100% of the time, I'm going to lead you back to your bed, and we're going to do this over. So I feel like that, my gentleness and yours, potentially, can be balanced out just by being consistent. It frees you up to be as gentle as you want to be, but also, you still have a great relationship with your dog. This also matters a lot with problem behaviors. Okay, so jumping is a great example. Jumping at the door when you come home from work, that kind of thing. So you come in the door and they jump on you. Say they're a puppy, right? So the whole time they're a puppy, they jump on you and you go, oh my God, when you're petting them while they're jumping on you, you're like, oh, that's so great. I just love you. And okay, fine, right? But what about whenever they're an 80-pound adult lab or whatever, then it's not so nice. Now you're pushing them off. You're like, hey, stop that. Oh my gosh, I just wish you'd stop that, or worse, whatever that may be. The thing is, we were inconsistent, right? You knew, or even if you didn't think about it, you should have known that they would always turn into a big adult dog. And this goes for the small dogs too. I'm not giving you a pass. But generally speaking, I get called for the big dogs that do it. Just make sure you're consistent. Like if you've got a big jumping problem from here on out, every single time you walk in the door, just don't pet them. Okay? And that's not necessarily going to get rid of the problem. I'm not giving you that. But at least you're not encouraging. That's the best first step. At least we're not reinforcing that behavior and making it occur more often. Barking is another one. I get this a lot, especially with the little dogs. Not that I'm picking on them. I love them to death, but Yorkies. I get called for a lot of Yorkies that yip, 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 yip. And people are just driven nuts by the time I come to their house. So the very first thing I want to tell people is just don't yell at them. Because to them, from their perspective, I would imagine now you're just barking together. Everybody's barking together. We're barking as a family. And I think people think, well, if I fuss at them, if I yell at them, then they're going to understand. But they don't know what you're saying. All they know is you're making sound at the same time they're making sound. And now it seems like we're doing this together. And then if you're yelling at them and you also say squirt them with a water bottle or whatever, well, now you just created like this confused dog. They're like, okay, we were barking together, but then they also like did this scary thing, and like it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't line up. It doesn't jive. So make sure you're being consistent in that way as well. Last thing, I've got a little bit of homework for you guys to insert just a little bit of consistency into your dog's life. I want you to, from here on out, okay, I want your dog to sit every single time you go to put their leash on or their collar or whatever, and I want them to stay sitting until you've got that leash on, okay? So if they're already wearing a collar or whatever, and they sit, right, you should be able to go and grab that collar and clip the leash on and stand back up before they ever stand. And you can continue that beyond that. I do sometimes, but that's not really important. That's where I want you to start. Get your dog sit, you clip the leash on, and you stand back up. And then from there on, whatever you feel like. But that's where I want you to start. Next, okay, and this goes back to my very first video in this series, is meals consistently, same time every day, and you pick that bowl up roughly 10 minutes later. So let's say you feed 5 p.m. whenever you guys are sitting down for supper. You come back 5:10, 5:15, pick that bowl back up, regardless whether they finished or not, okay? And that is all covered in my first video in this series, so make sure you go back and watch it. It's important stuff. And then last, okay, this is especially true for the puppy owners, okay? If you've just got a dog, or any new dog, this is especially for new dog owners, whether it's a puppy or a new rescue or whatever, but period. I just want you to do this just to insert some consistency into your dog's life. Even if you've had your dog 10 years and they have no problem pottying outside, I still want you to do this. I want you to bring treats every single time your dog goes outside the potty. And I want you to go outside with them. And when they go, just reward them. Okay, and I just want you to keep it right there, because these things are going to set you up for success in other ways. But sitting before putting the leash on sets you up for patience. The meals consistently every time sets you up for trust and routine. And bringing treats every single time sets you up to reward your dog when they do the right thing, even when you weren't training technically, right? So I hope this really helps, guys. I feel like this is some good stuff. Let me know what you think. Please like the video, comment below. Make sure to check me out on Facebook. There's a lot of good content there. And make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.